Peace, peace, peace. Why Equinox is born, Almighty? We as 5%ers, yeah, we got to do the knowledge more than you wisdom. For now, because we at the position where we're collecting a body of accumulated facts as a people. And so we don't have all the accumulated facts that we need as a people. Individuals have it. Individual groups have it, but the people in the groups may not have it. If you follow me, because of the way knowledge and wisdom works, is it usually doesn't reveal itself in that capacity until you have enough accumulated facts to even know it's there, to see it. So that's why I be saying, yo, Almighty, you need to do the knowledge more than you're doing the wisdom. And if your wisdom is more than your knowledge in the form of wisdom knowledge, like the universe or universal teachings, then that means it's your ways and actions that is the wisdom. Wisdom is a manifestation of one's ways and actions. You feel me? So that's what I'm saying. Traveling that way. Then when you do knowledge and wisdom, you get an understanding. So understanding could be understanding understood. Right? Understanding understood, showing and proving the culture. Once you know and understand the culture I God, now you have the power to resurrect the mentally deaf in their present state of unawareness and ignorance of self. And you're going to deal with that equally throughout your lifetime that you spend on earth. Like, there isn't any retirement plan from teaching your people, or as Harriet would say, I'm going to free them up. The problem is we can't free them up because they don't know they're not free. See, when people are captivated by the devil, they inside of his realm. And in his realm, in his reality, in that dimension that they'll be in, everyone there will be doing pretty much the same thing, so they think it's right and exact at that level, right? And so if they're not doing this, then they're doing that. If they're not doing that, then they're doing those things. So something to that effect. But the lessons have been given all the way down to street level, so the nations don't, the nations, the tribes and families, the groups, the different groups of Asiatic people, they don't have an excuse. It's us in the 50 states, the wilderness of North America, right? We can't say knowledge itself isn't on the street. It's just that every 100 years is a new hit, or everybody's gone after a C note. And so those kind of hits come in 20 scores, 4 score, right? They come in a score on you. And so every wisdom cipher that's making itself manifest the truth has to be born. So that generation has to be born. That's, if you know your math, you would say, yeah, every wisdom cipher, we got to make another a mathematical equation. What we do is we split it into knowledge added on to a cipher. Because you want to teach the babies from air particles in a clot of blood attach itself to the uterus wall is the best way to start teaching, because you would have already been teaching mommy. Mommy would be right and exact, and daddy is right and exact. And with that combination, the sperm and the egg are right and exact. It doesn't take long to repair the sperm. The eggs take generations because she's giving all her eggs in one hit when she comes out of and goes into comes out of puberty, right? When they when the wisdom of self divine cipher master hits her period, right? That's when you can make a determination on how many eggs is in there. So I don't think it's a set number because that's not the way nature works, right? And so the stronger the body, the more eggs there are, the more right and exact, the higher the caliber of nutrition. See, it just goes down to nutrition. So the colonizer knew to a certain degree about nutrition. And he knew to a certain degree he wasn't going to bring your food with you. And he knew that he could keep you weak by not feeding you enough calories. So you're always in a deficit. You're not going to be able to revolt as he thought. But we had other resources, but that's another story. Point I'm making now is, once you hit that equality and you go into being the true and living, that's when you don't really have to talk about it. You be about it. Right? You don't really have to say much. Because by then, if you going through that cipher like that, if you following the plan that the law laid for us, right? Trade, profession, right? Make sure you got that so you have a foundation. You know that you have to aim towards growing your own food because it has to be organic. That's a fact. And then you can do it in the grocery stores, but it becomes expensive. But if you grow in your own, you can bring the numbers down. And you increase the cell productivity at the mitochondria level when it's organic food versus conventionally grown food, right? Because it's food, clothing, and shelter, you need to master that. But, I mean, your 12 jewels give you the blueprint. That's why you get it after 120. You mastered your 120, now they give you 12 jewels. You got your wages. Now you can travel. And so from that point, you start doing your own study. You start pulling up this and that, well, books and stuff, right? So now, that's why I said once you get to a certain level, then you can understand the dynamics of 120 and how it selected itself to reveal things that weren't revealed, that people didn't know. The other science, like J. Rogers' history and all that, first you needed to know that who's the original man. Once you knew that, now you could go get academia's proof. Because that's the whole thing really in a nutshell. That kills all of their shit. If you just take it to the knowledge and have a body of accumulated facts that proves you are here first, and the dominant genetic code and the diversity is in the lamb's wool is the most diverse of all of the species on the planet that is dealing with, I want to say people, man, woman, boy, girl, or man, woman, child, that level. From people that was like they called Twa all the way to Watusi, right? That's diverse. And then you got to remember now, we have been circumnavigating this planet for millennia. And by doing that, we're everywhere. But the main part of our heritage would be the Tropica Capricorn to the Tropica Cancer. That's ours. That really belongs to you. That's what was ordained for you, lamb's wool, to have. Nobody can live there the same way you can. except for your descendants, your direct descendants, which would be it's 16 shades of black, 8 shades of brown, 8 shades of yellow. That's you. That's you. All that is inside the Lamb wool. And that's why you see it in these modern days, right? You see it in Asia and you see it in Africa, right? There's really no such thing as Middle East. They made that up to try to rob you. So it's Asia there, it's Africa is there, Asia and Europe, they're all on the same continent, just like Africa and Asia are on the same continent. See how they teach you wrong? Wrong teaching. That something that is not a continent, like if Africa was a continent by itself, then it would be the navel of the planet anyway. But since they had to make a Suez Canal to make it where you couldn't cross over, they have to do things with their artificial lines. Makes me think of the UN 1947. They have to do that to enable you to think borders. Because none of them are real. They're not real. Those are figments of the colonizer's imagination. They're not adhered to by the planet. They're only adhered to by the people that are on the planet. Because they wanted to be total control of you. And so they're losing control of the planet. The colonizer is losing control. He went from colonization to neo-colonization, and now he's at the end of the double civilization. And so it's falling. But things that fall that are that big don't fall in your lifetime the way you see things. That's just not the way it works. Empires take time to disintegrate. And most of the time they start disintegrating from within. Once you see the morals of the country switch to immoral and no rules and regulations, and then the insanity is running the country and not morality. When anytime anything goes, that's when you know it's on and popping. We about to be Sodom and Gomorrah's destruction. But the colonizer, at the risk of destroying himself, will try to destroy you. At the risk of destroying himself, he has been tearing you to shreds every chance he gets, and we always make a comeback. And so that is frustrating for him. He thought that we was going to be gone by now. When he did that mass genocide from Alaska to Chile, he really thought he had this on lock, because he changed the carbon monoxide level on the planet. He was doing so much murder back in the day. So to act like you didn't do it and your children all living off of what you did, they all know what you did. You know they know. The children know. Today's children, what we're figuring out as Asiatics when we do our research and we get all these different books that have science that tell what really went down, like simple books like ISIS Papers, what is the other one? Medical Apartheid. Those two right there alone let you see the wisdom, build, or destroy degree in the 1 to 40. See, that's where you're going. So when we was going through the degree, right, we were saying, okay, we showing and proving, or we taking you through how you show and prove, or connect you to the show and prove, right? We want you to see what the lessons want you to see, right? So we already proved the point of who is that mystery God, right? We went through that. We went through that would be in the 1 to 40, right? Or in 120, that's God's wisdom all the way to God, right? What is the meaning of civilization? Knowledge God or God. God at 120, knowledge God. And a 1 to 40, right? What is the meaning of civilization? One having knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, refinement is not a savage in the pursuit of happiness. You feel me on that, right? So once you understand that degree, and that degree takes time to gather the full understanding, because when you civilizing yourself, releasing the devil, taking the devil off your planet, the physical composition, the first planet for you is your physical composition. Anything that is made and grown from the beginning and has not been diluted, mixed, or tampered with. But we know that they had us for 500 years, so they diluted, mixed, and tampered with us. But our genetic code is so powerful, you couldn't dilute it. They tried, though. They tried to mix in, but we just absorb them. Like, so they see that, they know that the planet could absorb them. They can't absorb the planet. And they got this thing where they hate nature. I don't think it's a very healthy act to think that you could go against the grain. You always want to go against nature. And all the other indigenous people want to go with nature. So if we look at our hand, we'll see the thumb black, pointing finger brown, black, brown, red, then yellow, then white. You see them, right? And they say, oh, red. Why red? Well, depending on which red you're talking about, we're not talking about the Esau red, that Rudy. We're not talking about that one. We're talking about that red like Malcolm and them. You feel me? Already we have that. We could go without the colonizer in there. Say this is 50,000 years before the colonizers even made manifest from Yakub. Say we go back at that. So right there we had black, brown, red, yellow, white. But it was all us. Right? We had albinos, right? We already had the chinky eyes. That because those tribes manifest that's already been here. We already have it. Like, we can see it there. It's already there. That phenotype, as the scientists use those words, those phenotypes. And so the DNA, RNA, mitochondria, and the blood, the cell structure of those genetic codes within lamb's wool is so diverse. No scientist would say that I'm lying. They would say, yes, that's the most diverse code on the planet. Like, their code is so diverse within the lamb's wool, is that it's almost like they're all not even the same particular tribe like that. Like, not how we see tribal manifestations. That shit will be far from each other. But they're the same people, species rather, I should say. They just not the same people, because that's just how the genetic code is. You'll see them going from Twa to Watusi and all that in between. That's hella diversity. It had to be like that. You're the starter. You can't terraform this planet without somebody like that. Part of terraforming is diversity. That's why that old Darwin theory doesn't work in application, because you can't start with one like that and say it just turned into all these different things. It doesn't work like that on the physical plane of existence. All the lessons say the codes have to already be separated and long and a lot, for layman terms. They have to be long, short, a lot, abundant, and diverse. In the streets, they would say, man, that shit diverse like a motherfucker. Feel me? Like that. It gotta be like that, or it's not gonna work. And so, we know he lied there. So if he's full of lies and all his stories is just to keep you a slave, why would you get rid of everything after everything that the devil tried to do to you? You got rid of it from 1865. You threw all that away, except his religious concepts. You kept that. And you as you do things, you modified it, made it fit you. Fit you. But the root of it is him. So if you wanted to use, say you wanted to use that form of identity with the creator, right? You just had to, you can't let go of that. But I see y'all can't even let go of King James Version. You don't go to get the Ethiopian Bible. Now you know about that one. Why you ain't going and get that? Why you didn't drop King James ideology of what Jesus and Christianity is about and get Ethiopia's understanding? Why you didn't do that? Now you know. Now you know that you're supposed to do that. Why are you not doing that? Why are you so caught up in the devil? Why do you see? That's why I said the wisdom myself, divine cipher master. It's repeating itself with the allegorical story of Adam and Eve. You, as the original man, will not be down with what the devil is presenting, and she will fold because she can't help it by going with the weight. She gonna go with who weigh the most. And right now, the devil weigh more than the original man. Because he's running shit. You're just making a come up. Now, immediately, you could destroy the devil in one day without falling victim to the devil's civilization. But we have too many of our people that are still clinging to the devil. Feel me? And you see the clinging part when you see our wisdom, myself, divine cipher masters think their hair is not. And she said, I got to get my hair did. And she didn't think it was done until she made it look like the colonizers' hair. Strip it of its protein by either frying the protein down, which it'll just return. Heat ain't enough to do it. But they'll put chemicals in there to strip it. That way it could last longer, as they say. Because if they just use a hot comb, as soon as some hot water hit it, or some regular water, it'll go back to what it was, its original state. And so the devil got it so, he hates that out here so much. He hates our features and stuff, but he wants them, but he hates them. Crazy, right? And so he made us hate him. That's why our women don't want their hair to be shown. They won't let you see their hair because the devil made them not want to let their hair be shown, but show all their body. Like they working in reverse, right? Instead of showing your hair as your beauty and your face, you want to show your ass as your beauty and the fake hair and the fake eyelashes. And now they go to the part where they following the trans people because the trans people is the ones who's really doing all that BBL shit. Because they had men bodies and they was trying to make the man's body look like a female's body. But females already got a female body. All they got to do is eat right and exact. They don't even have to work out. They could just eat right and exact. Their genetic code is set up that way. We got to work out because we have to increase the muscle mass. All they have to do is make sure the womb is right and exact. The internal organs to make sure that the baby procreation is made manifest. Because the sperm can't just, it has to have a place to go, which is the womb, right? It's already alive and it needs to find host, the baby, the seed. It's got to connect with it. They'll try to tell you it ain't no baby till it come out, but it's a baby when air particles of a clot of blood attach itself to the uterus wall. That is a baby. Believe that. That mother knows it's a baby. All the mothers know that that's a baby. They just fronting if they down with the abortion people and acting like it ain't a baby. But it's a baby. They just ain't attached to it. But it's a baby, and they killed it. And they're killing them left and right now. They're doing more killing that way than any other way on earth. The only next killing level of that matches with that is like cancer and all that shit. Now that's real talk. So all of that, what I just said and what we just built on, that's wisdom build or destroy all day, right? That's exactly what that is. We could go back in reverse because we had to look at, you got to look at the wisdom build or destroy degree to even understand the first part of it. Once you get past wisdom build, you start really seeing what's going on because when you're talking about the duty of a civilized person, and if a civilized person does not perform his duty, right, and the prescribed laws of Islam have said the person of that ability, all of that is civilization classes. That's when you civilizing yourself, dropping CI germs, letting go of alcoholic beverages where they're not in control of you. If you drinking things like tequila, then there's sugar in it. Twofold war. You're using things like equality and stuff like that to take the bill to another level with your fellow brethren. But you're not using any live grafted germ from original that is devil. You're never going that way. That's not the way the lessons tell you don't do that. That's part of I'm a civilized man. So from like when you're going from 18 to about 24, well, once you hit 24, what is this idea of making the devil? You in talking about, that's all part of Wisdom Build. That's showing you that. 22, how old was the founder? That's still Wisdom Build. You know, that's just how deep Wisdom Build is. It had to stretch out, right? Because once you get past what is the prescribed laws of Islam to a set person of that ability, which is wisdom cipher, right? That civilized person is held responsible for the uncivilized and must be punished by the nation of Islam. Once you get past that, right, then you go into who is the founder of unlike attraction, air like a repel. So you automatically in Yaqub now, that part of the history that no one really knew because they hid that. They knew who they are. They know that they been knew albinos came out of you. That is nothing new to them, right? So that's what you got to get when you're looking at that part. So now we know where we at, right? Once we go through each one of those Yaqub stories, where it's teaching you about Yaqub, then you can get the 600-year process and go into that about Yaqub, right? You could go deep into Yaqub, and you'll start to see, if you study Yaqub, you'll really be able to navigate through this colonizer's mathematical equation because you'll see it coming before it hits you. That's what the 1 to 10, the student in Rome, that's what it's trying its best, striving to teach you so that you automatically in your head, when you see the wisdom, I self-divine cipher master degree, when you see wisdom in 1 to 10. When you see that, you automatically on guard. But not us. We be acting like as a people, oh, well, you know. No. Ain't no, oh, well, you know. It's a barrel of snakes. You don't know who's poisonous and who's garden. You can't tell till they bite you. They open up their mouth and let you see their fangs. My man, listen. Anaconda is not poisonous, but he will kill you. So get it together here. That's what I'm talking about. We letting the devil destroy us by using his poisons. Right? We eat his poison. We drink his poison. We live in his poison. We just doing it up and we just doing it. So anyway, that's what's making us down instead of up. You got to get up. Stand on that square. Anyway, I'm out of time. Divine understanding, born of light. No, we do it. Set the record straight. Ancient or the free Asiatic Son of Man 7. Peace.